All right, guys, and we are back for a really fun list. I was trying to do something a little bit different. I wanted to do the 90s cartoons, and that list was huge, and maybe I will do those one day because there's a lot of good cartoons that I grew up with. But then I saw Toonami. I was like, whoa, Toonami, that was my shit when I was a kid. And they had two different ones. They had Toonami from 1999 to, I believe this is 2001. And so these are like the beginning shows of Toonami, or the anime and shows that I used to really watch when I was a kid. And I thought, let's go back in time and see where they land. And we're going to start with the legendary category. This means that it's something that is just always in my memory as one of the greatest of all time. We have great, which means that I enjoyed it a lot. I think it's great. I probably even rewatch it. Good means that I enjoyed it at the time, but I might not be so inclined to rewatch them. Meh means meh. And trash means trash, like the absolute worst. I would never watch this again. And never watched is, well, never watched. So yeah, let's just jump right into it with this beautiful list. And we have the first one being, I believe, now sorry, there's no name C, so you kind of have to just assume that you know what it is. But I think this is Saint Seiya. Something like, or Seiya, I don't know. I didn't really watch this much. I actually watched this the first time in Korean from a friend of my dad. He used to work with a lot of different people in Asia, Asian communities, and they would show me these really awesome animes that aren't even in English. The problem is that they weren't in English. I had no clue what was happening. But this was pretty cool from what I remember, but I haven't watched enough, so I'm going to put it in never watched because I only watched it in a language I didn't understand. Gundam Wing was a beautiful anime in a couple of ways. It is like the gateway to anime for a lot of people. If you haven't watched it in a few years, you gotta just go look on YouTube and look at clips. This is some of the greatest dub ever. Ironically, it probably wasn't done on purpose, but this shit is hysterical. Also, it started my like kind of obsession with model kits and stuff. I used to build a lot of Gundams thanks to Gundam Wing. And yeah, Gundam Wing really did feel like one of those great series growing up. Would I rewatch it? Well, I watched some of the clips on YouTube and probably not. So this is a kind of a hard one because back then I must have seen it like 4 or 5 times. So it should be in the great category, but I don't know if I'd watch it again now. But I'm going to put it in great because this is a list of my childhood and it deserves to be there. So we're going to put it in the great. Boom. Fuck yeah. Nostalgia. All right, yo, Powerpuff Girls. If you got a problem with me liking Powerpuff Girls, you can go fuck. No, I love Powerpuff Girls. This was a fun, silly show with a lot of heart. Any type of show where you have like a sibling unity where they work together but also fight every once in a while is great. And I these three were pretty much the like opposite spectrum of each other. What was great is this was basically to be like the female version of Ninja Turtles in a way, where they were so close and they would protect each other, but they would also rely on each other and also fight with each other. So I love that. I watch this all the time with my sister. But I have to say, like, if you ask me, do you remember this show? I would say I remember the Three Sisters. I kind of remember the theme song, and I kind of remember there was a big monkey who was the enemy. That's all I remember. So I can't put this in great because I can't recall much of it. But it was enjoyable. Definitely good. And way above meh or trash, that's for sure. So we're going to put that in the good. All right, so we got a little conundrum. That's not the right word, is it? Fuck. I believe this is just Tenchi Muyo. Now, there's also Tenchi Muyo Universe, and then there's Tenchi Muyo in Tokyo. I've seen all of them. And Tenchi Muyo is probably my least favorite, but it's still good. It's old. These are all old. But what I mean by that is it feels like the beta of the before these two came out later on. And it's also more of kind of very fantasy sci-fi feel to it. And it didn't like focus on the relationship part, which is I think one of the stronger parts for Tenchi Muyo. So saying that, I don't have really too much to say about it other than I did enjoy it. I thought it was good, but the other series I like more. But before we jump into those series, we have Batman. I just feel it. I feel the anger coming from your computers right now as you're watching this. I didn't really like Batman animated cartoon that much. I don't know if as a kid I was just more into the high action, more colorful shows. But this shit was downright depressing sometimes watching it. Funny enough, I think I'd like it more now watching it. Back then, though, I wasn't a huge fan. I mean, I'm going to give it credit where credit's due. The animation was good and everything. And, you know, it had deeper, darker storylines that kids could like, but it was also made with teenager and probably even adults in mind. Saying that, though, I don't really have many good memories of this. I didn't really enjoy it that much. So this one I feel is going to be the one where people are like, you are a fucking loser. But if I'm going rated off of what I thought of as a kid, I'd probably put it in May. Now, let me make that clear. If I watched it now, I'd probably enjoy it more. But this is Child James, and Child James maybe was kind of a dumbass, so he's going to do a dumbass thing right now. All right, so Tenchi Muyo Universe. This was a lot of fun. This is the funniest of them all for me. This had like all the characters. I mean, it was just so many characters in the show. It had romance subplots, which was really fun. Yeah, I watched this show maybe 3 or 4 times as a kid and enjoyed it a lot. I'm gonna put it in the great section because I think it deserves to be there. But I think there's one show I liked more, Tenchi Muyo in Tokyo. I wanted a love story. And as I was a child of 12 years old, I think, when this came out. Is this 2000? 2001? I really liked this. I think I really liked the cast a lot. I really liked the romance a lot. I thought this was also funny. And it didn't really have the action that the other series had. But for some reason, I remember this one the most clear. I remember the plot lines somehow all these years later, 20 years later. But yeah, I really enjoyed this one. I think it's my favorite one, so I'm gonna put that in the great, but I'm gonna put it ahead of Universe. Fuck is this? Oh, is that a Gundam MS-008? I always thought this was good, if this is what that is, but it was also really dour. But I don't know if that's it. Or is that it? Let's just put it in never watch. Superman. Superman show was pretty good. Like I said in my video about Superman being boring, I love Superman now as an adult. Didn't really like him much as a kid or teenager. So yeah, I didn't have like fond memories of this show either, just like Batman. If I watched it now, I'd probably again like it more. But we're going with Childhood James, and Childhood James would probably put that in the Mayhay. Man, people are gonna fucking kill me. Yo, Outlaw Star. So while everybody was on the nuts of Cowboy Bebop, I was on the nuts of Outlaw Star. I always make myself sound a little gay in these, and yeah. I love Outlaw Star. It was that crazy, zany adventure in space. It had really cool fights. It actually had an episode I distinctly remember of them faking their deaths that like kind of like shocked me as a kid. Like, what are you doing? You killed everybody. You know, sorry for spoilers. It's 20 years later. But yeah, I loved Outlaw Star. I thought it was really unique and different. And yeah, I'm going to put that in the great too. I really enjoyed this show. I'll probably put it in front of Universe, but I don't know if I'd put it in front of Tokyo. Card Capture Sakura. I didn't really watch this much, so I'm just going to put it in never watch. I watched like a few episodes. My wife, on the other hand, grew up with it and loves it, so there you go. Yo, Gundam Origins. I can feel it again. The anime fans. How dare you? How dare you? Listen, I was a kid, okay? And this animation was already outdated as hell. This was made in the 70s, and it showed. It still shows if you watch the clips online. Saying that, I don't think the story or anything's bad. I actually love the story. I can't show you, but I have the entire manga that was redone a few years ago in hardcover. I really like this story now. But James back then, James was a little 12-year-old kid, and this was very slow and boring and really bad animation for someone like me who was watching animes that came out only a couple of years prior. So, I thought this was oh God, I feel the anger. Remember, this is Kid James's mind. Okay, so Dragon Ball, just Dragon Ball, legendary, still great. I just read the whole series a few years ago again, maybe 2 years ago, whatever, and I loved it. There's a couple of slow points. I think the Red Ribbon Army stuff can get a little overdone. But man, there's so many good moments. The tournaments were so good in this. And the fact that Goku loses a lot is really interesting and refreshing. The fact that Krillin dies in this is shocking at the time, because this is before like everybody just gets brought back, you know, like it's like fucking Lucky Charms, like, oh, look at the Dragon Ball. Worst accent. But listen, I'm Irish. I can make fun of it. But yeah, this is legendary. There's not much else to say. I actually think I like it more than Dragon Ball Z in some ways. So that's legendary status. Okay, again, I think this might be Gundam 008, but I can't tell. That was Gundam 008. Great. Of course, it's a fucking picture that looks nothing like the picture we... Yeah. Yeah. Gundam 008, baby. Again, this was a really dour show, but it did have some really great moments. Even as a kid, I enjoyed them. But, you know, I was coming off of Gundam Wing, which is more of a spectacular show, more big fights and cool Gundam designs. These are more cutback, mobile suit, regular-looking dudes. So I didn't like it as much as Gundam Wing, but I did enjoy it. I thought it was good for the time, and I still think it's good now. I probably want to rewatch it because I heard it held up really well. All right, Batman Beyond. I see it now. Like, people are like, if you didn't like Batman Beyond, I'm going to freaking kill you. Batman Beyond. I love Batman Beyond. Sorry to throw you for a loop. I really like this. I liked Terry right away. He was a much younger Batman, so he made mistakes, but he was more interesting. He was more fun than someone like Bruce for a 12-year-old watching this. And yeah, I thought the action was great. The movie's excellent too, if you haven't called now, but it's really, really good. It has a surprising twist with Tim and everything I really enjoyed. But yeah, Batman Beyond, awesome stuff. I even made a video about Batman Beyond where I was kind of upset that the comics never captured the magic of the show. So I'm going to put it in great. And where do we think this belongs in great, though? I think it's definitely better than Tenchi Muyo universe. Is it better than Outlaw Star? No. But is it better than Tenchi in Tokyo? I think I'm going to put Tenchi in Tokyo right behind it. And I'll put Batman Beyond, Outlaw Star, Gundam Wing. Is that Trigun? Well, two things. One, I got to get glasses. Two, I'm pretty sure that's Trigun. Why didn't they just use a fucking picture of Vash as, like, the icon instead of having, like, a crew of people that I barely can see? I really don't know. I think that's Vash. I'm going to go with, yeah, that looks like him. Oh, bro, that's not fucking Trigun. That's goddamn Zoid's New Century. Whew, if Gundam Wing got me into Mecha, Zoid's was like my bread and butter. I watched this all the time, and it's not even my favorite Zoid series. This was hype for me. Like, I used to come home from school, turn this shit on, and watch Liger fucking fuse with all these different goddamn colored weapons. Like, you had the Panzer Liger, right? Yo, that was unbelievable with the fucking missiles popping out. You got the super speed Liger, Jaeger, yeah, I don't know. Yo, that shit brings me back. Yo, this is legendary to me. I really love this series. You know, the CGI, I think the Zoid battles were CGI. This was early 2000s, so they were experimenting. Probably don't hold up. But put my 12-year-old brain into 2001. I think it was 2001. Yeah, this was fire. So we're going to go boom, bam, booda, bum, boom, blam, paloom. And that's it. That's my list. You know, 1999 to 2001 was an interesting year for Toonami. It was the start of everything, and these shows are definitely kind of like the blueprints of what's going to come that made Toonami such a phenomenon. I will do a list on the next few years. I have another one till 2004, I think, and that was probably my prime years of watching Toonami. Then I kind of just did my own thing and went to Chinatown and bought some tapes in New York and just did my own thing. But those years are very important for me. Those, even more than this. Like, these years were great, but those years are the years that made me into the mega anime fan I became. But yeah, some of these aren't anime. You could probably tell I liked anime more than American cartoons. And I think that still holds true. I'm not a huge fan of American cartoons, and that just doesn't vibe with me. I also am probably slightly a bigger fan of comics than manga, even though I have so many manga. It's just the way it goes. I love comics. I love superheroes and comics, but the shows didn't really appeal to me. Some do now that I'm older, but it's just not the same. Whereas anime, fell in love with it from. I watched it before Toonami. I watched Dragon Ball Z with the horrible ocean dub. And then I watched Dragon Ball Z in Japanese. My dad used to bring back tapes from Japan. And then I also watched a lot of like the very mid 90s, like Guyver, Ghost in the Shell, Akira, and all those that made anime popular. So yeah, but these are my shows. These are my listings. I would love to hear your listing. I know some of you are going to just like look at this and be like, this dude has the most trash taste in the world. He's putting goddamn Batman and Meh and putting Powerpuff Girls ahead. How dare he? I'm the controversial king. But yeah, this is just my opinion. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you liked, subscribe, and yeah, list yours below. And if you want to see the next part, let me know in the comments below that you want to see part 2, and I'll get to that as soon as possible. Have a good one.